doing my Westminster Tales for this data boys class, and yeah, here we go. When in November, the aging leaves fall, the trees are filled with beauty and stand so tall. The crisp air gives us a chill, and Westminster High School is buzzing with a thrill. As the students wave first quarter goodbye, they walk away with their heads held high. The excitement of Thanksgiving and Christmas is in the air. The wait seems to be a little unfair. But there is something that every student and staff must do together, a practice and a test that makes you wait around forever. A fire drill, that's what it's called, something that isn't everybody's favorite thing at all. But for, the, but for this drill, there was an actual fire. As I ran, the flames seemed to grow higher. Students and adults ran every which way but loose. The direction to run I couldn't really choose. I followed a group that seemed to know where to go, my heart racing fast, it felt like it could blow. We were able to get out to the field quick. The flame rose above the school, scary and thick. I glanced around the field to see if everyone was safe and sound. The field was pretty empty, nobody was around. The rest of the school must have been stuck inside. They all must have been trapped in various classes with nowhere to hide. The tallest man in our group had announced he had called 911 and that they would be here soon. They told us that they'd be able to get through the fire and find us much later than noon. The tallest man in our group was Mr. Crosby, our new principal at school. Word has it that he seems to be pretty cool. He's seen walking around school with an inviting smile on his face, his stride always at a steady pace. His height causes him to be seen His height causes him to be spotted from far away, making sure every student isn't walking the hallways astray. He's always dressed up in a nice suit and a red tie, a personality so honest he seems to never tell a lie. He leads our school in a positive way, making sure all his kids are safe every day. His red hair and his light eyes stand out from the rest, making sure our school is always at its absolute best. Who stood next to him was the administrator, Miss Quick. She was probably the shortest out of the pick. She constantly has important papers in her hand, making sure things work out and go smoothly as planned. She takes care of the students that misbehave, making sure the reputation of our school doesn't concave. She always puts together with she's always put together with a nice outfit to show her profession, always having her job and school move forward in progression. She's seen around with the sound of her heels making a tap noise, her stance and stride filled with poise. Miss Anderson, a teacher, was there too. She always looked nice from her hair to her shoes. She she laughed and smiled at any joke. She always she was always happy and carefree every time she spoke. She enjoyed teaching her students art. You couldn't tear her passion from that apart. She was always creative with an open mind. To ask for her opinion, it was always sure to be kind. She had a daughter and a son. At every competition our school attended, she made sure we won. Her classroom was always filled with music and students conversating, but as but she always made sure we had time for only concentrating. If you asked anyone what they thought about her around school, their answer would always be that she is chill and cool. A man from supervision stood among us, his figure thick but strong and robust. He always he always had a walkie-talkie on his hip. A smile never crossed his lip. Every step he took was strong and heavy. If a fight were to break out, he would be ready. His skin was brown and his hair was dark. He lurked around the school like a shark. All the students all the students would try to avoid him, but if they were doing something against school rules, he would find them. He wasn't there to be happy and nice. If you did something wrong, he made sure you paid the price. He stood in the hallways keeping a close eye, being able to see through every student's lie. Everything he said was straightforward and serious. To talk back to him, you must be delirious. The first senior beside me was part of ASB. Her smile was her smile very addicting, always keeping things exciting. Her voice was loud, she was lion and proud. She participated in every school function, who was willing to do anything for the school without objection. Her hair was long and straight. Everything she attended, she was never late. Her style was a bit strange, but it was nice to look at for a change. She always had new friends, being able to talk to her, being able to talk to them for hours on end. She was barely ever home, she was hardly ever alone. She stood at average height, her eye color a little bit light. She is always outgoing and energetic, but very kind and sympathetic. She wanted to make sure all the students were comfortable with each other and be able to conversate with one another. The next senior was a jock, a guy that looked so tough no one would dare to mock. He wore a letterman's jacket decorated in badges of high amount. There were so many I could barely count. His arms were very strong, his legs muscular and a bit long. His smirk was eye-catching and slick. His fists were built like bricks. He filled guys with intimidation as the girls fell head over heels in infatuation. His personality was obnoxious. Most of us wanted to knock him unconscious. He participated in every he practiced every day and night. He had the personality to put up a fight. He had a he had a different girl every week. He dumped them as soon as they let him have a peek. He decided to strike up a conversation with the senior girl next to him, something he decided on a sudden whim. The senior girl was an AP student. She was very slim and a small girl. Her hair tied up the ends with a slight curl. She was very open and talkative, but when it came to class, she was very cooperative. She always came into class on time. She always performed at her prime. Her clothes were a bit plain, but her head was packed with a good brain. Her grades were very high, filling her parents with happiness and pride. But she wished she could be out with her friends instead of studying for hours on end. She was pretty soft-spoken, the frame of her glasses slightly broken, her bag filled with books. She could care less about her looks. As long as she knew she has passed and gone through graduation, she can move on in life without hesitation. There was a junior boy there, his headphones in his ears, his music such a blare. He, he's, he's so into being cool. He can't wait for next year when he can rule the school. With light brown hair and a noticeable swag, he thinks this whole school thing is just a big drag. Now and then he gets a date. He uses charm as his bait. On his skateboard he likes to grind, a good rail he always finds. He always has his pants riding low, unfortunately his boxers always show. A sophomore girl sat beside him. She stood pretty tall and was pretty slim. Her appearance instantly told you she was a tomboy. A softball always filled her with joy. Her skin was light and freckles filled her face until it seemed it had no more space. Now that she's been in high school for a year, it seems she has a little less fear. She's getting ready to take the KC. A hard worker she'll have to be. Lots of friends she likes to make. She keeps it real and is never fake. Sitting quietly was a freshman boy who was acting pretty coy. He was tall and lanky, always nervous and shaky. He As we sat there and talked, he merely observed. It was obvious he was very reserved. His clothes didn't really fit him, and his hair needed a trim. When he finally spoke, he started off with a joke. Despite all of the rumors, we found out he had a great sense of humor. In his spare times, he likes to play video games. We all agreed that some of them were pretty lame. As the school was still burning and our minds were still turning, Mr. Crosby came up with an activity that required some creativity. He explained he would be the judge, of which we would not begrudge. We, we had to come up with a story, and at the end, there would be some glory. For the one that came in first, someone had to buy something to quench their thirst. Unfortunate for the one who was last, oh, Unfortunate for the one who lost, it would come at quite a cost. Rock, paper, scissors would decide who begun, so that in the line it made you number one. The freshman boy seemed to be the one with the luck, to which the senior jock mumbled under his breath, "You suck." So that was my Westminster Tales book, and thank you for listening.